Today I'm going to talk about my grandfather's journey to Australia. His name is Martin McHugh, but we call him Macca. Macca was born in Belfast, Ireland on the 12th of May 1948. He has one brother, Uncle Brian, and two sisters, Auntie Jen and Auntie Christine. Before leaving for Australia, Macca fitted libraries and offices. He built shelves, partitions and cubicles. He was a carpenter, shop fitter. That is why he's really clever with his hands. He also worked as a chef's assistant, working in hotels in Ireland and London. When he was 21 years old, he boarded a ship at Weymouth, England, to start on his journey to Australia. The ship was called Generous Line Linus. This ship was used for immigrants moving to Australia. At this time, there were many people migrating to Australia. Macca was feeling very nervous about his move. He didn't know anyone and he didn't know what to expect. He paid only £10 for his ticket. This is where the term £10 pommy comes from. The only condition on his ticket was that he had to stay in Australia for 2 years. His cabin on the ship was on the top deck. He made lots of friends who were also moving to Australia for a better life. At the time, there were many more job opportunities in Australia. He remained friends with these people for many years. The trip to Australia took 4.5 weeks by boat. Many people got seasick. At times, the sea was very rough. The first stop on his trip to Australia was Canary Islands to refill and restock the ship. They then stopped at Cape Town, South Africa, before arriving in Fremantle, which was the first port of call. Macca said the ship carried out many emergency boat drills. The passengers had to practice putting on their life vests and lining up in the correct areas for their safety boat. Towards the end of the trip, a passenger who was on the top deck had loosely put on his life jacket and jumped into the sea. It took the ship 3 hours to stop and turn around. An alert was sent out to all ships who were in the area to look out for a man. The ship lost 6 hours of its journey, but the man was found floating in the sea with his life jacket wrapped around his neck. He was contained on the ship until he arrived in Fremantle, where he was sent back to England to do some jail time. After leaving Fremantle, Macca arrived in Sydney in March 1970. He found work straight away in Sydney, moving offices. 2 weeks later, he met the woman that was to become the love of his life, my grandmother, Lita. They met working at Wheels Cigarette Factory. Macca was in charge of printing, and Lita was in charge of quality control. My Lita had also migrated to Australia from Peru around the same time, but that's another story. They were both married at St. Patrick's Church in Bondi on the 13th of February in 1971. Macca worked in many jobs in Australia, including pest control and in the mines. Everybody knows and loves him. He has a funny sense of humour and is devoted to his family. My Macca is a good man and I admire him very much. Thank you for watching the story of my Macca's journey to Australia.